Danny Trejo is one of the most recognizable faces in Hollywood. With his rugged features, tattooed body, and unmistakable presence, he's become a staple in action films, crime dramas, and cult classics. But behind the Hollywood fame lies a story far more dramatic than any role he's ever played. A story of addiction, violence, redemption, and unexpected stardom. Health Wealth Diary presents the extraordinary true story of Danny Trejo. Daniel Trejo was born on May 16, 1944, in the Echo Park neighborhood of Los Angeles, California. His childhood was anything but stable. Growing up in a rough, working-class Mexican-American family, Danny was exposed early to drugs, crime, and violence. Danny is the son of Dolores Rivera King and Dionisio Trejo, a construction worker and former member of the 38th Street Gang. Danny was the result of an extramarital affair. Dolores's husband was away fighting in World War II when she met Dionisio in 1943. In 1949, Dionisio banned Dolores from seeing her son after Danny sprained his arm in her care. When Danny was just 4 years old, Dionisio moved the family to San Antonio, Texas. They fled Los Angeles because Dionisio was wanted by police for stabbing another man in a bar fight. In 1949, they returned to Los Angeles, and his father turned himself in. Danny shared a room with his cousins in his grandparents' house. His grandmother and grandfather had 11 children, 6 boys and 5 girls, and Danny was constantly neglected and abused by his father. Nobody had time for young Danny except for his uncle Gilbert, who was a major influence in his life. Gilbert introduced young Danny to boxing, but also to drugs, handing him his first hit of marijuana at just 8 years old. What could have been a life-saving mentorship in sports turned into a dangerous spiral. When Danny was 12, he caught Gilbert shooting heroin. He threatened to tell on Gilbert unless he gave him some too. Sure enough, Uncle Gilbert rolled up Danny's sleeves and put the needle in his arm. Danny was now hooked on heroin, caught up in gang activity, and running the streets of Los Angeles. His life was headed toward one of two paths, death or prison. At age 14, Danny and his Uncle Gilbert robbed a liquor store on Burbank Boulevard. Danny spent most of his teenage years in and out of juvenile detention centers. At age 18, he got into a fight at a bar with 2 sailors over a girl and ended up stabbing them both. Danny was now in the California prison system. He was released 2 years later, only to commit more crimes. In 1962, he was arrested for selling heroin to an undercover cop. The state of California had had enough. He was sentenced to 10 years and shipped to San Quentin prison to serve his time. Inside, Danny quickly developed a reputation. His boxing skills became a way of survival. He became the San Quentin prison lightweight and welterweight boxing champion. He was respected and feared by other inmates, but his addiction followed him behind bars, and violence was never far away. In 1968, Danny was shipped to Soledad Prison, where he landed in solitary confinement after hitting a prison guard in the head with a rock during a prison riot. Staring at a potential death sentence, he had a moment of clarity. He prayed, asking God to give him another chance at life. That promise to change stuck with him. When the other inmates refused to testify against him, Danny was acquitted of the charge and avoided the gas chamber. While in solitary confinement, Danny also sobered up. He vowed he would never do drugs again, and he never did. When he was finally released in 1969, Danny Trejo walked out a free man, but this time determined to stay that way. Life after prison wasn't easy. Danny struggled to find direction. In 1973, he finally found his calling. He began working as a drug counselor, helping others who were walking the same dangerous path he once did. Danny's street credibility, combined with his authenticity, made him a powerful influence in the recovery community. For over a decade, he lived a modest life, counseling addicts and trying to repair the damage of his past. Danny's entry into Hollywood happened by complete accident. In 1985, a young man he was sponsoring in recovery called him for help. The man was working on the set of a film and struggling with temptation. Danny agreed to come by and support him. The movie was Runaway Train, starring Jon Voight and Eric Roberts. While visiting the set, Danny was spotted by a screenwriter who remembered him from San Quentin. That man was Eddie Bunker, a reformed bank robber, who, like Danny, spent most of his early life in prison. The director of the film, Andrei Konchalovsky, spotted Danny and was so impressed by his look that he asked Danny if he could act as an extra on the film. While shooting, Andrei asked Danny if he could train Eric Roberts in boxing for the film. That opportunity turned into an on-screen role as a convict boxer. Hollywood suddenly realized Danny Trejo wasn't just authentic, he was the real deal. Throughout the late 1980s and early 1990s, Danny became the go-to actor for tough guy roles. His scarred face and menacing presence made him perfect for playing criminals, convicts, and gangsters. He appeared in films like Death Wish 4 with Charles Bronson, Lock Up with Sylvester Stallone, and Marked for Death with Steven Seagal. In 1991, Edward James Olmos offered him a role in American Me. Danny was unimpressed by the script, especially a fabricated rape scene that involved the head of the Mexican mafia. Instead, Danny chose to act in the film Blood In, Blood Out in 1993, which was also based on the Mexican mafia and their dominance in the California state prison system. Danny has stated in interviews that Blood In, Blood Out was the first movie that gave him legitimate worldwide fame. In 1995, Danny Trejo's career took a dramatic leap forward when he landed a role in Robert Rodriguez's action film Desperado. Danny played a character known simply as Navajas, Spanish for knives. True to the name, his character didn't utter a single word. Instead, his presence was communicated through action, menace, and his signature weapons, a belt lined with throwing knives. For Danny, Desperado was more than just another job. It was his introduction to Robert Rodriguez, a partnership that would change the course of his career. The two formed an instant bond, recognizing in each other a shared love for gritty storytelling and authentic Latino representation on screen. That same year, Danny starred in Michael Mann's Heat. He played a trusted member of Robert De Niro's crew. Unlike his usual tough guy roles, this part gave him depth and emotion. In one of the film's most powerful scenes, after being tortured and forced to betray the crew, Danny's character begs De Niro's character to end his suffering. It was a brief role, but unforgettable, proving Danny Trejo could deliver raw humanity as well as menace. Danny finished off the 90s with roles in Hollywood blockbusters such as Con Air with John Cusack and Nicolas Cage, Anaconda with Jennifer Lopez, and The Replacement Killers with Chow Yun-fat. In the 2000s, Danny stayed one of Hollywood's busiest actors, racking up roles across action, comedy, and family films. Some of his most popular projects included the Spy Kids series and Once Upon a Time in Mexico, which reunited him with old pal Robert Rodriguez. He also had a brief cameo in the hit comedy Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy starring Will Ferrell. Danny finished the decade with roles in The Devil's Rejects and the 2007 remake of Halloween. Both films were directed by Rob Zombie. In 2010, Danny stepped out of the shadows and into the spotlight with Machete. What began as a fake trailer in Robert Rodriguez's Grindhouse project turned into a full-length film built around Danny himself. At nearly 66 years old, he became an unlikely action star, playing an ex-federale turned one-man army against corruption, cartels, and crooked politicians. The film was over-the-top, bloody, and outrageous, but audiences loved it. For Danny, Machete was more than a movie. It was the role of a lifetime, a celebration of his tough guy image and his Mexican heritage, proving he could carry a blockbuster on his own shoulders. Danny once said that Machete was special because it was the first time kids came up to him wanting to be like his character, rather than being scared of him. After decades of playing nameless criminals, Danny Trejo had finally become a hero. Danny's fame didn't stop at acting. He turned his life story into a business empire. In Los Angeles, he opened Trejo's Tacos, followed by Trejo's Coffee and Donuts, creating a food brand that reflected his Mexican-American heritage. He also became a pop culture icon, appearing in video games, music videos, and commercials. From Breaking Bad to Sons of Anarchy, his face became instantly recognizable across genres and generations. But Danny never forgot his roots. He continued working as a motivational speaker, visiting prisons, schools, and recovery centers to share his story. His message was simple: if I can do it, so can you. Behind the tattoos and the tough guy persona, Danny Trejo is known for his kindness and generosity. Despite his intimidating looks, people who know him describe him as humble, approachable, and endlessly giving. For all the larger-than-life characters Danny has played on screen, his personal life has been just as complex, filled with love, heartbreak, and the ongoing struggle to be a better man than he once was. Danny has been married and divorced multiple times. His longest and most public marriage was to Debbie Shreve, a realtor and actress, whom he married in 1997. Together, they raised a family, though the marriage ended in divorce in 2009. Danny has 3 children, his sons Danny Boy and Gilbert, and his daughter Danielle. Gilbert has followed in his father's footsteps into the entertainment industry, working as a director, writer, and actor. Danielle has pursued her own creative path, often working behind the camera. Danny Boy, the oldest, has lived a quieter life outside of the spotlight. Fatherhood didn't come easy to Danny. He has openly admitted that, in his younger years, he wasn't always present. Addiction, crime, and the chaos of Hollywood sometimes pulled him away. But as he grew older, Danny dedicated himself to repairing those bonds, striving to be the kind of father he never had. Danny often says his greatest role isn't in movies, it's being of service to others. Whether helping addicts find sobriety or feeding the homeless in Los Angeles, he sees his survival as a responsibility to give back. In 2019, he became a real-life hero when he rescued a baby from an overturned car in Los Angeles, proving once again that his true strength lies not in playing the bad guy, but in being the good guy. Today, in his early 80s, Danny continues to act, run businesses, and inspire millions with his journey of redemption. His story isn't just about second chances, it's about making the most of them. From the depths of prison to the heights of Hollywood stardom, Danny's life is a testament to redemption. His story proves that it's never too late to change, never too late to find purpose, and never too late to give back. Danny Trejo isn't just a Hollywood legend. He's living proof that the hardest battles often create the strongest warriors. Thank you, Danny. What's your favorite Danny Trejo movie and why? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications for more awesome videos from the Health Wealth Diary.